Well, hello, ladies power lunch. Hi, everybody. It's me. I'm your host, Dr. Davia Shepherd, and I'm here with just besties, best business besties that a girl could ever want to have. Our special guest today is Amber Dancy, and she's going to be talking to us about that thing that every single one of us as business owners, we need to get under control. That's our systems. She's going to be talking to us about that, and she's going to demystify systems for us. So I can't wait. This is going to be exciting. And of course, over here on the ones and twos, we've got Wendy Lee. Hey, hey, hey. So excited. Guys, yesterday was my birthday. So this is time stamping this event that should be actually quite evergreen, but I just had to take a moment here to say, oh my goodness, you guys are awesome. I love you all. You were so kind, and from my heart, thank you so much for all the gifts, the well wishes, the texts, the posts, everything. It's just the phone calls. Like yesterday, I really felt your love. I felt it 100%. And so from my heart to yours, from this projector who always needs that recognition, you can't even begin to understand how meaningful it is to know that you even thought of me, that you even took a moment to reach out. Thank you. On with the show. So we got a very fun special guest with us today, Amber. We love you, Amber. Some of you may not understand why I love Amber so much. So let me just tell you. So Amber, I met her when I was preceptoring for her group coaching program where she was being certified as a transformational retreat leading coach. And you know, some people who, when they walk into the room just sparkles because they have added their essence to it. Amber, believe me, she walks in and you feel that pure positive energy radiating from her. But not only that, you feel her need and her desire to be supportive and to hold that container so that you can get your systems in order, you can get your systems in place. She has a fantastic resume, including her service to our country, which we are so thankful for. Thank you. But her resume really just goes to support the amazing work that she does with her clients. So welcome, Amber. Thanks for saying yes to not only being on our show today, but also being the host for our workshop for Monday for Ladies Power Lunch, our monthly networking meeting. Amber, can you share with everybody who you are and tell us a little bit more about the wonderful work that you do in the world?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dr. Davia. I couldn't have asked for a better introduction. Oh, I feel so warm and fuzzy now. I'm like, ooh. So I'm Amber. I call myself an intuitive business coach. I'm probably so many more things in that, but we have to put some sort of label on it somewhere, right? So people can understand. I am the founder of Practical Rebel. And at Practical Rebel, we believe that sometimes rebelling is the best thing that you can do for your business. And so when I think about systems are really a byproduct, believe it or not, of your business. And my approach is to look at how we can make these systems work for humans. So I use a combination of, I do have a strong operations background. Davia touched on that. I've been doing operations for 15 plus years. I'm actually I was a mechanic when I was in the Air Force. So how things work makes sense to me. You're going to hear me use the words, it makes sense a lot. But here's what I want you to hear. Sometimes what we need to do in our business doesn't quite make sense, not on the surface. It might make sense to you, but it might not make sense to other people. And that's where things get a little sticky when we're doing our business systems. We're thinking about the decisions we're making because we're trying to do things like other people and not listening to that like inner knowing of the thing that makes sense to us and maybe doesn't make sense to everyone else. So that's what we do. We're gonna do the things that don't quite make sense to other people, but we're going to back it up with like that practical piece, because I've seen it all. I've done it all. I've seen all of the ways, and I want you to do it your way. So we're going to look at your human design. We're going to look at how things feel for you. We're going to look at what you want, what your team wants, what your clients want. And that's how we're going to approach systems from that perspective, instead of just worrying about efficiency or what, how we're going to do things faster, better, easier. Now that might come into it, but ideally I want these to work so that you get to be in your flow. Yeah. We want structure to be in our flow, and that volume, or that, it's not a scale. It's not really a scale. It's a integration, but every one of us needs a different level of structure to be in our flow. And when we start to figure that out and start to figure out how to set up our systems to support that, everything starts to just feel really good in your business. And that's how I want you to show up and do your work in this world, is feeling really good about all the things.
Feeling really good about all the things. You know, you asked a question in the Ladies Power Lunch Facebook group earlier today about when we think of systems, what do you think about? And it really made me pause, because when I think about systems, I think about things that I can put in place to make my life easier.
Yes.
Things that I can put into place so that things will be a little bit more automated and will give me some more, that thing, that resource that's so precious to us, give me time back.
Yes.
That's what I think of when I think of systems. So I'm going to invite people to just post in the chat if you're joining with us here on our Ladies Power Lunch Facebook group, or if you're catching this on the replay, just drop in the chat, like, when you think of systems, what comes to mind for you? Question for you though, Amber. I ask this question of pretty much everybody who shows up on the show. If you could just grab the world in a big, wide hug and say to them, hey, this thing that you're doing it wrong, and this is a better way. What would that one thing be that you've kind of clued in with all the work that you've done with folks over the years, and you realize they're doing this thing wrong and they could have been doing it so much more easily? Because our show is called Grow Your Business Smarter, right? So how could they be doing things easier?
That is a beautiful question. And hang on. It's about choosing what you want to experience in your business. What I've seen in helping other people grow businesses and in growing my own business is that we make it harder to show up in our business because we spend a lot of time focused on everyone else. We focus on what we think our clients want. We focus on what we think our team wants. We focus on all the other people saying we need to do things in a specific way. And we bypass our own inner knowing of what we really want to experience in our business and what we want our team and our clients to experience in our business. And when we come back to that one thing, believe it or not, you get to do your business however you want. And that one thing, that one realization of coming back to, I actually get to decide how my business serves me first, actually makes everything else flow. But we're not taught to do it that way. We're taught to go do market research and to ask our clients and to create something that fills a hole or fills a need in the world. And while that's valid, it creates a lot of really wonderful humans with gifts attempting to solve something that's not theirs to solve, instead of showing up how their love and their energy is meant to be in the world.
You know, I love that you remind us that we're not here to fill every single gap out there in the world. We're here with purpose. And when we are in our purpose, we are flowing in a really, really abundant and joyful way.
Yes.
Just a shout out to folks who are joining us over in Ladies Power Lunch Facebook group. Special hello to my dear friend Marianne Pack and my other dear friend April Brown. Love you both, ladies. You guys are amazing. Thanks for joining. Yeah, we need to get back to basics. And sometimes I just had a big number birthday, y'all. I'm now officially all grown up. Isn't that wonderful? And so it's led me to a lot of great introspection. Like, am I doing the things that are lighting me up in my job every day? You know, and am I doing things for the sake of doing them, or am I doing the things that I'm here to do? These are such great questions. So when we're thinking about our systems, Amber, what are some of the do's and don'ts for getting our systems up and running? Where do we even start when we're getting systems? Okay, so we've done our introspection. We've figured out what our place in the world is. What's the next step?
That is a beautiful question. And sometimes this makes people want to throw things at me, but it depends. It really depends on your business, who you are as a human, who we're serving, and how you are choosing to show up. So I like to put systems into buckets. So I have 4 buckets that I kind of group systems into. And I say this with the caveat of I want you to hear me really clearly. There are buckets, and some things are in multiple buckets, and some things move around, and depending on the intention with which we're looking at a system, it might kind of sit in a different bucket. So I only put the buckets there to help you really understand the intention we're looking at the systems with. So the buckets for me, the way I put it in is we have money, sales and marketing. And if you think of those like a grid, money and sales and marketing are kind of client facing, or sorry, not client facing, but sales facing. So this is the humans who haven't said yes to us yet. Like they're still in the front side of our business area. And then the other 2 buckets are delivery and communication. And those 2 buckets are a little bit more after someone has said yes, or more internal facing systems and processes. And I don't know if this is the right time to share this, Dr. Davia, but the gift I brought for you all today is actually replays of me live going over each of those buckets in a bit more depth. And you can get those, and we'll add the links for you, but you can get those. I did a 4-part series. I call it Your System's Sweet Spot. and you can go through and see kind of what's in the buckets and how those are there. So when it comes to systems and where to start, usually the place to start is where you're feeling the heaviest or where you're feeling the stickiest, where it's kind of like, there's this thing, usually someone's going to say to me, I know I want to be here and I can't get there because this thing is in my way. And so that's where I want to go look at and dig in and figure out what is either working or not working in that area and what we need to do about it, basically. So it could be something simple, or I'm not going to use the word simple because that's a relative term. It might feel simple. Things feel simple and easy to me sometimes, and they don't always feel simple and easy to other people. So let me pull that word back in. Let's pretend I didn't say simple. It might be something like, I know I want to sell this thing, but I don't know how to collect money for it. So I have this offer in my head and I don't know how to invoice someone, or I don't know how to ask for someone to raise their hand to do this thing. So maybe we're looking at a system for how we take money in and do invoices, or maybe we're looking at a system for lead management. And those are going to look really differently. And most of my gorgeous, creative, spiritual humans can get really stuck on that. And then they won't sell anything because they're like, oh, I don't know how to do all these things. It must be me. And they'll go back and hide for a little while. So it depends. It depends on where you're at. It depends on what's feeling sticky. I would also say the thing that many people don't give themselves credit for is that you have more systems than you think. We have ways of doing things. We have a way that we show up already in our business that we've created a system. Even if it only exists in your head, it's still there. What holds us back is we only keep it in our head, and then we tell ourselves the story that we don't have systems because that feels really heavy. Can I ask a question back to you, Dr. Davia?
You may.
So when you think of systems, do you think of small business systems, or do you think of corporate systems? So the word systems itself, what connotation does it have for you when I say that?
I think maybe for me, I run a small business. We are engaged in patient care. And so when I think systems, I'm thinking, what are the processes that make our business work? Like, for example, we have a system for moving patients from arrival through treatment back out to checkout and scheduling their next appointment, making payments, and exit. So that's a system that we have. And pretty much for every patient who walks in, it works mostly for the same way. But then if we're intaking a new patient, then the system is a different system that we use. So that's how I think about systems.
Okay. When you first started your business, what systems, where did you start? I'm curious. Do you remember the first system that you invested in creating?
That's a really good question. I would say perhaps the first system was figuring out the patient journey as the patient comes through. That was probably the very first thing. Like, what do we do for each patient as they come in? It's,
Mhm.
evolved over time, but I feel like that's where we started.
Yeah. Um, Meredith is saying in the chat on Facebook, I definitely think of corporate when I think of systems. And so one of the commonalities I see when I use the word system, I've actually stopped using the word system in my marketing as much because I find that it shuts people down. Small business owners, especially online business owners, coaches, creatives. When we hear the word systems, we jump to something really big, really expansive, some usually really complicated is usually the word that comes up. So like that's the one we think about, it within the medical system, within your practice, even though you would have had to map the customer journey, it's one that's pretty common for any of us who've, come into, we've all gone to the doctor at some point. We've all gone into a system like that. And so there's some commonalities to it. And what I find is what happens is we start our small business and we hear the word systems and we just completely like restrict and go, oh no, I don't want a system. That feels really hard and that feels really heavy and that feels really complicated. And what I want y'all to know is that they can actually be fun and easy and, dare I say, sexy, because they actually help you do and serve better, more. I'm going to talk more about this on Monday, so I'm just going to tease this a little bit. But over the weekend, I would love for y'all to be thinking about the difference between your personal capacity and your business capacity. They're different. And what happens is we build our initial systems based on our own personal capacity and then get stuck. So I'm going to leave that there. But systems are how we increase our business capacity so that we get to show up and serve more and do the things we love in our business, not the other way around.
I absolutely love that, Amber. I love the idea of being able to grow just by considering streamlining things and making things work better for us. See, I don't get that anxiety that sometimes is provoked by that word system, because I tell people all the time, I think maybe that's one of the reasons why I was so like magnetized to you immediately without even knowing you or recognizing you. But I tell people all the time, my grandfather was an engineer, my uncles are engineers. I feel like if I wasn't a physician, I would be an engineer because I love simple solutions to complex problems.
Yes.
And so when I found out that you were a mechanic, I was like, yes, this is my girl right here. She knows about finding a simple solution to a problem that you think is complicated. And I think when you think about oiling the machine that is our business, that is the oil that our businesses need. We need efficient, beautiful, heart-centered systems that move us from point A to point B, help us to serve our clients better, help us to serve more clients, help us to be more abundant in the product that we produce. And so I am looking forward to your workshop that you're going to present for us on Monday. Can you, however, before you go, give us a little bit of homework? Like if you were to give us one thing to take away from today, let's say people only hear one thing and only remember one thing from this whole conversation that we've been having. What would be one thing that you want us to go home and implement in our businesses today?
I want you, I felt that all the way down. I want you to go look at your business and really decide which pieces feel really good to you and which pieces don't. Meaning, where are your systems working and where are they not working right now? And here's why I want you to look at this. The things that feel like they're not working probably just need to be tweaked. It's probably because you attempted to implement something in your business without really understanding or choosing how you wanted it to feel or what you wanted to experience or what we were doing with that system. And look at it and ask yourself, if I could change this to make it feel joyful, what would I do? And then change it and see what happens.
No, because the fun thing about all of this is that we actually get to do that in our own businesses.
Yes, you are in control. You make up all the rules. You set up all the structure.
We do.
Sometimes we forget.
Yes. You know, there's a meme that I've seen on social media, and it's like a racehorse tethered to a plastic chair. And the horse just like standing there, like, I'm tethered. I can't move. I can't go anywhere. And I'm thinking, to myself, we are that racehorse, right? We can get it going at 90 miles per hour, and we're just thinking that we're being held back. And how many times in our lives have we remained tethered to that plastic chair because we just didn't realize that, hey, we can move, we can change. It's really up to us. We get
to choose. You get to play, you get to feel, you get to try things. If they don't work, do it a different way.
Yeah.
Have fun.
I love that. I want to pull Wendy Lee into this conversation before we wrap up. And I want to say that, you know, you're all invited to come join us in the Zoom room and have some fun with us on a Friday. All you have to do is go to growsmarter.com/login at 1 p.m. Eastern every single Friday. And you can tune in and hang out with us and have a little bit of fun. And of course, be part of the Free Gift Friday experience. So Wendy, what is all of this evoking for you? Because you're a small business owner, but the type of business that you run, you are a coach. You're an executive coach. How do systems feel for you?
My relationships with systems has definitely been a journey. When I was in the corporate world, that was all done for me. And I'm not in the same camp as y'all about the system and all that. I'm more of a big picture kind of thinker. And I can really appreciate now, being almost 5 years in business and a lot of love, hate, crying, hugging, whatever that happened with my systems is, oh, it's there to help support me. And the more I can have the masculine energy of the system, hold the space, then I can do all this. So I really appreciate systems more than I did before. And the one thing, Amber, that you said today, which I want to say thank you, is like, give ourselves some credit. You know, just in general, sometimes I find coming out of my mouth, I'm not good at that. I don't know how that works. I don't do that. And the truth is, that's not truth. That's not true at all. I have learned a lot, and there's more that I can learn. So I appreciate the conversation, and I can see in my business how it's shifted by having business. And even though I'm not the expert on it, it doesn't mean I still can't have a say-so in it and have a two-way street conversation. Before it was like, oh, I don't know how to do it, please do it for me. And then I didn't like what was happening because I wasn't being the boss of my company. So this
Yes,
conversation
I
is
love that.
lovely. I love it.
I love that. You know, I remember being in corporate, and when it came to corporate systems, you call tech support. They come on down and they take care of stuff, and you kind of divorce yourself from the process. You don't have to be involved in any way. And then being in private practice, that kind of got stood on its head. But I totally get where you're coming from, Wendy, because I really am a big picture person. I am what would be, if I were an engineer, I would be a project manager, because I can see how all the pieces fit together. But I don't want to be dealing with the minutia. So that's where the systems help me, because the systems
Yeah.
make sure that the smaller things are running smoothly, so that I can be up here looking from my big picture view and not having to deal with those little things every single time. That's how I feel about systems, and maybe that's
Yes.
why I love them so much, and why I just appreciate what Amber is doing. Absolutely appreciate it. So Amber, share with us
Can I
about,
say
sure, absolutely.
one thing? Wendy, I want you and everyone to hear, you are an expert on what works for you and your business. I don't need you to be an expert in systems ever. I only need you to be able to clearly articulate what feels good for you and what doesn't feel good for you, so that they could be tweaked to fit. That is all. So you do get to be the expert of your systems, but it's not the system itself.
Right. It's not the
It's about what
technical
works for you.
Yes.
Yes.
Amen, sister.
Yes.
That's so beautiful. And so to wrap up today, Amber, will you share with everybody what today's free gift is?
It is a 4-part system series that I did. I'm calling Your System Sweet Spot, and it does a bit more of a deep dive into the 4 buckets that I look at when I look at systems in a business. And the goal here is to give you a bit of structure, some places to start looking at in your business. If you hear the word systems and you're like, this kind of gives you some ways to look at it. I go through my tips and tricks, the places, the intentionality in the different buckets when you're thinking about how you make decisions about your systems, because that's really the key. We're deciding we want this to work this way, and we already discovered that you're in charge of that, right? So this is just a little bit more information to empower you to make those decisions in a way that feels good for you. Yes, exactly. And remember that sometimes we create a rule in our head and don't realize it. And then we forget that we've created this rule and we're operating off of a rule that we didn't know, that we don't remember creating. Maybe our unconscious brain created that to keep us safe. So when we're looking at that, invitation to poke at your rules a little bit and see if they actually feel good or if we want to make a shift.
Amazing.
Beautiful. So Amber, how can people get to this 4-part series?
Oh, I made a really simple registration page for you. So you can just all you need to do is put in your name and your email, and you'll get an email right away. I will pop it into the Facebook group right now.
Okay. Is it a link that you can say, or is it one of those crazy long links?
Hang on, let me look.
What does it look like?
It
it
is
www.ambersgift.com? No.
The pretty link.
Yeah, it's not a pretty link, but it's practicalrebel.com/systems sweet spot series.
Okay.
Dashes in between system sweet spot series. So I'll pop it in the Facebook group so y'all can just click on it.
Awesome.
But it's simple, and you'll have direct access to the replays and transcripts. The tool that I use automatically transcribes everything. So you'll be able to see
this
all
is
of
such
the
a generous gift, Amber. Really, really appreciate it. And then how can people connect with you when they've, had an opportunity to look at your gift and they realize that you're going to be an amazing person for them to hold hands with and look at their systems? What is the way that is best for connecting?
So 2 ways. You can go to my website, so practicalrebel.com, and or you could email me directly at amber@practicalrebel.com, or please feel free to find me on Facebook and DM me. I'm kind of happy however works best for you. I'm going to be quicker to respond to the Facebook DMs, to be honest, than email likely. So, but from my website, you can schedule a call at your pleasure.
At our pleasure. I love it. Amber, this is amazing, but this is just the beginning, folks, because guess who's going to be our workshop presenter on Monday for the Ladies Power Lunch monthly networking meeting? I want you to take a wild guess. Who could it be?
Does it begin with an A and end in an R?
It sure does. You must be psychic because you figured it out. It's going to be Amber, and she's going to play with us. We're going to do some practical things. It's going to be workshop based, hands-on, and you're going to leave with things that you can apply into your business right away. So I invite you to make sure that you're available on Monday at 12:30 p.m. Eastern time. That's going to be 11:30 a.m. Central. And come join us. Just go to growsmarternotharder.com/login and join us. We're going to have a wonderful workshop. We're going to start with some networking. We're going to have our workshop, and then we're going to have our member match. So it's going to be a full 90 minutes, but it's going to be worth your time. So see you on Monday, and mark that third Monday of every month on your calendar. Just mark it down and make sure that you join us. Folks, it is my pleasure to be here with you. I want to say again, thank you so much for remembering me and remembering my birthday and just being an amazing community to be a part of. I really appreciate you. Thanks for joining in today, Wendy Lee. Thanks to everybody who tuned in over in Ladies Power Lunch Facebook group. Amber, thank you. And I'll see y'all on the next show. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.